For the third straight month, prices have gone up more than expected, from the rising cost of car insurance and repairs. So how much you're paying at the grocery store every week?
Do you know how much one of these costs? $2 freaking.
This was $200.
We supposed to skip the power bill this month so we can buy groceries, or the mortgage?
Before the pandemic, all of these groceries, about 30 items, cost $100 on average. Now, 5 years later, according to Nielsen IQ, all this costs 33% more, meaning you'd have to skip about 10 items, like chicken, bread, milk, and bananas to make your $100 budget.
Tonight, Americans hoping to see the Federal Reserve cut interest rates as early as June may now have a longer wait, with inflation climbing for the third straight month.
The prices is too high.
The Consumer Price Index up 3.5% in March from a year ago, fueled by higher costs for rent, car insurance, clothes, medical care, and gas.
I used to fill it up for $35. It was a beautiful thing.
And now it's 45.
45, and sometimes it's 60 between food and gas. It's had a big impact.
At Alexandria Jones Vintage Shop in Chicago, rent just jumped from $1,400 to $1,800 a month.
I have to do a sale. I have to bring people in just so I can be able to deal with what is, the inevitable of my rent being $400 more than it was.
To combat inflation, the Fed increased borrowing costs to a 22-year high, making it more expensive to pay for a new mortgage, car, or credit card debt.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the cackling hens on The View. Yes, we got to talk about the cackling hens. Yeah, I know. But, hey, they're upset because undecided voters are complaining about Joe Biden's inflation.
I think he's been absolutely disastrous for the economy.
I agree.
Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family personally. Raise your hand. All right, so that is everybody. President Biden argues that his economic record has been very good. He said President Trump's was not as good. What are you keying off of, Sean? Since you had the best smile, and Virginia the second best smile. What are you keying off of to say President Trump's economic policies would be better for you?
My past performance of my 401k. I know it was post 2020 and everything kind of flipped around, but you can't blame everything on 2020 for forever.
We have areas here in Pennsylvania where it's just at a standstill right now. Like, things are supposed to be being built and the interest rates are just way too high for people to invest and start moving around.
And Virginia, just staying with you because Pennsylvania is near and dear to Joe Biden's heart. Are there Biden policies that you would blame for the problem? And if so, what are they?
The interest rate is so high right now, and I know they're trying to cut the inflation down, but if nobody is building, no businesses are really coming to Pennsylvania right now to keep us moving forward.
Even if you're trying to buy a house, because I'm trying to become a first-time home buyer, the prices are so high right now. It's just hard.
Is there anything Joe Biden could do or say between now and the time you vote that would make you feel differently about feeling that his policies would not be as good for your family on the economy? Or are you pretty much decided that Trump's policies would be better for the economy?
I feel like he doesn't even take accountability for what's going on in the economy. Not even accountability. He's in denial that it's happening.
The point is Biden needs to hear the people, because when he's talking about the economy doing stellar, he's talking about the stock market. He's not looking at homelessness or joblessness. He's not, at Gigi's point, and thinking about how much it costs to go to the grocery store. And he's gaslighting literally everyone in the process.
And Omar, you voted for Joe Biden last time, right?
Yeah.
Whoopi decided to go off on these undecided voters because she doesn't understand why people are upset and blaming Joe Biden for inflation. In fact, she goes as far as to claim that if people knew civics, they would not be blaming Joe Biden. Basically stating that undecided voters do not understand civics, right? You don't understand civics if you are upset with Joe Biden over inflation. That is what Whoopi Goldberg is insinuating in her rant about how people are upset with Joe Biden and this economy. Take a look.
What I hear when I talk to undecideds is the grocery bills are...
Yes, but if people knew Civics, they would know that that's not his... Listen, he doesn't...
There are absolutely things that Biden can do to address it, and grocery prices have jumped 25% over 4 years.
What can he do?
Hang on real quick. This is the reality. It's the most immediate and repetitive thing. You have to buy groceries every week.
We get that. Get all of that. But the question is, what do you want him to do? Because what can he do?
He can challenge the major grocery chains if he wants to. There are things that he can do with that. He can encourage the Fed to do.
Can he take them to court?
So far, we're in a free country.
I would say,
let her answer.
No, there are a number of things that can be done, but to just say, I wash my hands, that's not my problem. You can't afford groceries.
Can he take them to court? Because
no, it's not a matter of taking them to court.
I see what you're saying. Even as campaigning on things like that helps, because I think also making room for immigration would be helpful here. One of the things, if you're looking towards the election, if you want to grab people and get them voting, immigration is one of the most agreed upon problems.
But here's the problem. He goes and he takes care of what he's supposed to be taking care of, which is the bridge and how to open. Hold on,
I don't think that's what Ron Klain was saying. He was talking about him going to ribbon cutting the infrastructure projects. I get you might have sounded tone deaf with the bridge.
But here's the thing. You know, people are bitching if he does stuff. They bitch if he doesn't do stuff. Listen, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. But I'm pissed off. I'll tell you,
Americans are spending 11% of their income on food.
I'm an American. I'm a little pissed off about having over-the-priced stuff. But I tell you what I'm really pissed off about. I'm really pissed off that people seem to think that the American citizen is a wallet where you can just get your hand in there. That's what I want to talk. I want to talk about why the people in New Jersey now are facing not just getting the prices raised on the buses and trains. No. This is on the Jersey side.
Yeah, I know, but it's all part of the same.
But the congestion pricing isn't making me as nuts as...
I just want to underscore, because I think it's a fair point. There's not like one box he can check and suddenly grocery prices go down. That would be ridiculous to suggest. But what is being told by advisors is you need to speak to what people are feeling. You need to speak to this very real reality. I make a lot of money. I put a red onion back the other day because it was $4.99. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think it's at the point now where The View is going to have to really think about getting rid of Whoopi, right? Figuring out what they're going to do with her. Because every time I listen to her, and I don't watch The View, but every time I listen to her, she's very incoherent. She clearly and obviously doesn't know what she's talking about. She's just talking to be talking. And it is obvious that she thinks that she's making a point when she's actually not really making any point at all. Or it's very hard to understand her and the point that she's actually trying to make. I mean, she is probably one of the most inarticulate people on television, and she's talking about these topics that she clearly and obviously is not mentally equipped to be talking about, right? So, yeah, I don't actually really watch The View. I know some people think that I watch The View. I don't actually find good clips where they're talking about topics that I think are newsworthy, and they can provide good context for me to talk about the news, right? That is how I think about it. That's my thought process. And again, we're talking about inflation here and the cackling hens and the Democrats and their interesting strategy of trying to basically blame voters for not getting on board with the Joe Biden train, okay? They are trying to scold voters who are saying, hey, I'm undecided. I don't necessarily want to vote for Biden. I don't necessarily want to vote for Trump. I don't know, but I think that Trump was better than Biden on these issues. I think, honestly, the only reason that you have anybody that is undecided and they're sitting out and they're like, oh, well, I got to decide between Trump and Biden, because honestly, for me, it's frustrating in the sense that I think that the choice is clear. I mean, these people are acknowledging, and this shows up in the poll as well, too, that Trump is just better than Biden across the board. I do think that there's a bit of Trump derangement, but I'm not going to give him too hard of a time, okay, because I don't want to scold undecided voters simply because they don't want to vote for Trump, right? Or they're not sure they're going to vote for Trump, okay? I'm hoping that, you know, they realize that, hey, you know what? Put aside whatever feelings that you have about the way that Trump acts and understand that Trump is what's best for the country, and you have admitted that yourself by saying that his policies are better. So when Whoopi comes out here and strongly insinuates that undecided voters don't understand civics or don't know civics because they don't want to vote for Biden, I think that is untrue. I think that undecided voters actually really do have a grasp of why the economy is in the current state that it is in, okay? Because if Whoopi understood civics, she would know that, yeah, at least a lot of the reasons why we're dealing with the massive historic inflation that we're dealing with is because of Joe Biden's policies, mainly having to do with Democrats and them shutting down the country during the pandemic while pumping trillions of dollars into the economy at the same time. At that point in time in 2021, we did not need an extra stimulus, but the Democrats decided to do the American Rescue Plan because they wanted to say that, hey, we did our own version of the stimulus while at the same time promoting lockdowns, keeping these states locked down much longer than they should have been locked down, and not trying to go back to normal as soon as possible. The fact that Democrats kept pumping money into the economy, putting stress on the supply chain, while at the same time paying people not to work, okay, and feds refusing to compensate with the increase in spending by raising interest rates early, that is the primary driver of inflation, in my opinion. Now, some people will counter that and say, well, inflation is a global problem. Okay, well, who has the largest economy in the world? Well, the United States. Okay, when the American economy is stimulated, the world economy is stimulated, right? So when we pour trillions of dollars into our economy, we're essentially putting trillions of dollars into the world economy, because when the American people have that money to spend, who's manufacturing the vast majority of those goods, right? The rest of the world. Okay, so again, people who want to try to play it up like, oh, no. It's not Biden's fault. It's not Democrats' fault because the whole world is experiencing inflation from the pandemic. Well, again, who's the leader of the world? We led the world when it comes to these lockdowns, right? If we would have led the world and said, no, we don't want to do these lockdowns, we're going to try to go back to normal, then the rest of the world probably would have done the same thing. Okay, if we would not have spent so much money, then the rest of the world probably would not have attempted to do the same thing. Again, are we a leader of the world or are we not? Right? And that's not to say that, you know, every country would have followed the United States lead and you would not have had any global inflation if the United States had done everything right. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you cannot try to take blame off Joe Biden because the rest of the world is experiencing similar problems when we're supposed to be the leader of the world. And the world's economy is largely affected by the United States economy. You give people trillions of dollars to spend. Who's manufacturing those goods? Because we damn sure don't manufacture them in the United States like we used to, okay? So again, you're stressing out those supply chains that start where? All the way overseas, okay? So yeah, you're going to have those increase in prices because supply is going to be lower, but demand is still going to be elevated, if not more than it typically is, because again, people are just sitting at home buying stuff with free government money. And that's what happened. So again, if Whoopi understood civics, she would understand that Biden and Democrats played a huge role in worsening inflation, making inflation worse than I think it would have been had the Democrats chose to say, hey, we're not going to do another stimulus package, okay? We're also going to open up. At that point in time, we had enough data to suggest that, hey, you know what? It probably is a good idea to go ahead and start opening back up. But they demonize Republicans for doing that, right? They demonize Republicans like Ron DeSantis for leading the country when it comes to keeping his state open. Republicans like Kristi Noem said they were super spreaders, while also at the same time ignoring the BLM riots that were also super spreader events, except the media didn't call it that because they were BLM riots, right? Again, it's amazing how that works. So, again, to me, it's just so funny how Whoopi can't make that connection despite the fact that she's supposed to know civics better than everybody else. Okay, that's why she's so mad at undecided voters. But yet, for whatever reason, Whoopi claims that, hey, she's mad that people think that you can just reach into the American people's pockets and just take their money. But she ain't got nothing to say about the government spending, which is exactly what the government is doing. Okay, that has driven this inflation. The government reaching into the American people's pockets and taking our money, tax dollars. Yeah, that's what's driving the inflation, Whoopi. She's not making that connection, but she is talking about the corporations and how the corporations are allegedly price gouging, right? So instead of, again, blaming the Biden policies, the government spending, the fact that we refuse to cut spending, even though we should, right? The debt in this country is out of control. Our debt to GDP ratio is at the highest it's ever been since World War II. Nah, instead of the fact that Biden's not addressing that, no. The companies, the corporations, the big greedy corporations are price gouging the American people, okay? She's talking about grocery stores and stuff like that, you know. So in reference to this conversation about private corporations and price gouging, Whoopi expresses that, hey, yeah, she's upset with people thinking you can just reach into the American people's pockets and just take money, right? Again, trying to imply that these corporations are greedy, price gouging. And then she references how she's really mad at New Jersey. I guess she's using this as an example for increasing their transit prices. Now, again, this is where she's making a disconnect. I don't think she realizes that the New Jersey Transit Board that's responsible for the increase in prices is a government-owned entity, okay? And the reason why they're increasing their prices is because Democrats decided in New York City to implement congestion pricing, which is a toll to enter Manhattan, okay? So now it has become more expensive for people to go in and out of Manhattan every single day to go to work. So now that places stress on the New Jersey transit system, okay? Because people have to take that transit system to go into Manhattan, and that's a cheaper way for them to do it. That's how they get around it. So more people are incentivized to take the New Jersey transit. So they have to now increase their prices due to increased demand. Again, something that I don't think Whoopi understands, right? I don't think she really understands that at all, okay? Because what she's complaining about, what she's ultimately mad about are Democrat policies, but she doesn't really seem to be able to connect the fact that New Jersey transit prices rising are not a result of greed as much as it is just a result of Democrats forcing these entities to raise their prices because of their policies, right? Again, it's just funny how that works. This is why, again, I listen to her, I'm like, yo, this woman has no idea what the hell she's talking about at all, right? She's just spewing Democrat Party talking points, and that's it, and just saying whatever, right? Just saying whatever. Like, for example, she claimed that Republicans are trying to bring back slavery in another incoherent rant about abortion.
You know what you have to keep in mind. Take a look at the things that they're rolling back. Remember, I said ages ago, you know, they in their minds they want to bring slavery back. They're okay with it because you see, things change. You know, one of the good things about the Supreme Court is you can fight to make sure you make stuff better. You don't generally fight to make stuff worse. Or to roll back. And to me, if you're okay rolling that back, when things were not even a state, when we had no say, so how's that going to roll? How's that going to roll? What's the next thing? Because, you know, on this, with all of this comes birth control. Right. With all of this comes everything that you need as a woman to have had put in place to make sure that we were doing better than we were before.
Wow, incredible stuff. So, yeah, like I said, if Democrats want to take the strategy of telling undecided voters that, hey, you're stupid if you don't vote for Biden, okay, that you're MAGA, that you don't know civics, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, even despite the fact that, hey, the economy's not good, the border's open, crime is out of control. If you want to continue to deny reality and piss on people's legs, okay, even though it's raining, be my guest, okay, because I think that's what people are upset about the most. I think what people are looking for from Biden is just honesty and truth and acknowledgement that, yo, inflation's out of control. Yo, you're screwing up. Yo, the border is actually open. Yo, crime is actually out of control. Stop lying to us, okay? That's the first thing that the Biden administration can do. Stop lying to the American people, and then from there, you may be able to help yourself. But again, as long as you continue to gaslighting, telling people that down is up and up is down and that they shouldn't believe their eyes and their wallets, hey, it is what it is. That's how people are going to feel. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.